Hi yogis, welcome to Yoga for Back Pain. In today's class, we are going to be working through some juicy movements which are really going to help to release areas like the hips, the lower back, and the mid back. So if you suffer from back pain, hopefully by the end of this class, you will be feeling amazing. Okay, let's get straight into it. We are going to start at the back of our mat. So just bringing your feet about hip distance apart, let's pedal the legs. So just starting to create some mobility in the body. If you want to shake the hips left to right, you can. You might want to stretch the arms up and over your head. Maybe linking the fingers, pressing the palms up to the sky. Big stretch. So really just feeling your body. Maybe feeling where you feel tight in your body. So is your lower back tight, mid back? Do your hips feel tight? Do you feel pain? And again, just doing any sort of movement which feels good and you feel like your body is craving. Starting to release the arms down. Taking a big breath in, and on your exhale, bringing chin to chest, rolling down one vertebra at a time, slowly bending the knees as your knuckles meet the ground. And let's introduce a gentle pedal into the legs. So this first posture is a really nice way to unload the lumbar spine. So if you think about when we stand up all day, the vertebrae are compressed, or the discs in between the vertebrae are compressed because obviously our body weight is pressing down because of gravity. So this is a beautiful way to kind of counterbalance all of that compression and start to introduce a little bit of space in between the vertebrae. So pedaling the legs, maybe you want to bend and straighten both at the same time. Again, any movements which feel good for you. Now starting to bring the big toes together and then the heels together. Spread the toes out nice and wide. Bending the knees a little bit more. Guiding your arms behind your knees, giving yourself a nice big hug. We're going to come into some gentle cat-cows. So pulling the belly down to the thighs. Collarbones open up and look forward. So really trying to lengthen through the spine as much as you can. Sink the hips a little bit here. Take a big inhale, and then on the exhale, chin to chest, round through the spine. Start to pull on the legs, so keep the bend in the knees and see how much you can round the spine. So feel like your lower back is pulling up to the ceiling. You can take a few big breaths here. And then when you're ready, take a nice big inhale to drop the belly down to the thighs, bend the knees a little bit more, collarbones open up, look forward. And then exhale, chin to chest, belly button draws in, round through the spine, pull on the backs of the knees. How much can you round here? So feel free to move through this movement. You can go really slow. You can hold for a few breaths. Or maybe you want to move with your inhales and exhales. You can do that too. So each time you move, really trying to find the edges of your movement. So can you extend a little bit more? Can you feel the stretch a little bit deeper? Now, if you feel like you want a little bit more and you have a little bit more flexibility in the hamstrings, you can release the hands down to the toes, so gripping onto the toes. And doing the same movement, so moving through the cat-cows, but this time when you exhale and round the spine, extending the legs and really pulling now the mid-back up towards the ceiling. So we've got a little bit of resistance now with our hands on the toes. You can also do this with your hands behind your legs if that feels a little bit better. So introducing that stretch through the hamstrings and the straight knees really increases the stretch through the back body. And if you are suffering from any lower back pain, this is probably giving it a nice stretch. And again, feel free to hold any position that feels really good. Taking those big breaths in and out. So the bigger you breathe, the more you allow your body to release. Moving through 2 more breath cycles. Take your time. There is no rush. And whenever you are ready, you can slowly begin to walk your hands forward, bringing your knees down to the ground and finding yourself in a tabletop position. Let's shake the hips, shake the shoulders. Moving into our next posture, which will focus on the fronts of the hips and the hip flexors. So stepping your left foot forward. See if you can step it as far forward as you can, so right to the front of your mat. Starting to sink the hips down, coming right up onto the knuckles, and maybe you can walk the knuckles a little bit closer to your hips. Roll the shoulders down and back, looking forward. Again, if you want to introduce a little wiggle of the hips, you can. Maybe you even want to bend and straighten. Again, this class is all for you. Whatever you feel like your body needs today, go for it. And remember that the body changes every single day as well. So one day, a particular posture might feel good. Another day, it might be a different one. So really listen in and tune into your body today. What is it asking for? So taking a big breath. Every exhale, grounding the hips down. Every inhale, opening the chest and looking forward. We will anchor down with the right knuckles. You can step them a little bit wider if you like. Left fingertips will reach up to the sky, and just pause here for a moment. So think about sinking the hips as much as you can, pressing the knuckles down into the ground, and then broadening the arms as much as you can. So really feel nice and wide in the arms. Take a big inhale. On your exhale, slowly bringing that arm back down to the ground, bending the elbow, and now guiding the elbow towards the ground. Now you might come halfway. You might be able to reach your elbow all the way down to the ground. Wherever it is, find that comfortable position. And then on your next inhale, reaching up. Again, broadening as much as you can. Exhale, elbow comes down. Let's do 2 more like this. Taking those really big breaths. So try not to rush the breath. We really want to find the edges of the breath so we can find the edges of our movement. And coming into your final lower. This time bringing both knuckles down. And let's slide the back knee back a little bit more. So now we are in a wider lunge. We should feel a deeper opening through the hips. Again, shake the hips left to right. And let's move through that movement again. So left fingertips reach up. Try and sink the hips as much as you can. This time, aim for the fingertips to point towards the back wall. Maybe you can even look at the back wall. Make sure the shoulders aren't creeping up to the ears. Keep the neck nice and long. Keep your back activated. Take a big inhale. And on the exhale, cartwheel the left arm, elbow melts down towards the ground. Take a big inhale, open, reach for the back wall, exhale. And again, move through 2 more breath cycles just like this. Don't rush, drink in those breaths. Keep your neck nice and long. And final time, elbow melting down. This time, coming all the way up into kneeling, you might need to slide your front leg in a little bit more. Tucking the pelvis under. So if your pelvis was a bucket, trying to imagine the water is getting tipped out the back of the bucket, so out this way. Tucking the tailbone under, pulling the belly button in. So really bringing that right hip flexor on stretch. Take a big breath in, and then on the exhale, slowly slide the hips forward. Now this stretch is all about keeping our pelvis in that posterior tilt, so tipping the water backwards and feeling that stretch through the front of the hip. So it doesn't matter where you are, if you're down here, up here, it doesn't matter, as long as you are feeling that stretch through the front of the hip flexor. Take those big breaths If you feel that hip flexor begin to release, you can slowly push forward. Again, tucking the hips under, feeling that big stretch. If you would like to go a little bit deeper and you have the mobility, you can release onto your right hand, bend the back knee, and then grip onto the back foot, tipping the pelvis, again, backwards. Hips come down, chest open. You might even want to come up into this position. So it doesn't matter where you are in this stretch. We're taking some nice big breaths here. Now, the reason we're releasing the hip flexors is because they actually are connected to our pelvis. And if you do suffer from back pain, any tightness in and around the pelvis can be a cause. Now, tight hip flexors, a lot of us have them because we're sitting down a lot of the day, driving the car, sitting on the couch, sitting at work. So that shortened hip flexor starts to pull on the pelvis and cause tension in the lower back. So if we can really release through the front of the hips, that will help with that back pain. Take one more breath wherever you are, tip the pelvis back. And then when you're ready, slowly releasing. Sliding the left leg back, come into the cat-cow. Let's shake the hips left to right. Just tune into your body. How does it feel? Has some of the pressure released out of your pelvis, out of your hip flexor, maybe out of your hamstrings? So really getting to know your body. Okay, let's step the right foot forward again, trying to aim for the front of your mat. Shake the hips left to right, come up onto those knuckles. So just recognizing how this side of the body feels compared to the other side. Does it feel tighter? Does it feel looser? And let's come into that rotation. So left knuckles pressing down, right fingertips reaching up. Pause here. Broaden as much as you can through the arms. Pull the shoulders away from the ears. Sink the hips. Take those big breaths. On your next inhale, reach even further. Exhale, elbow down towards the ground. Again, doesn't matter where that elbow is as long as you can feel that release through the hips. Take a big inhale, reaching up. Exhale. Two more, just like this. Again, don't rush. And final time. Elbow melting down. This time, both knuckles down onto your mat. Let's slide the back knee back a little bit more, find that deeper lunge. Rock the hips left to right. See if you can shuffle the hands a little bit closer to the hips. Open the chest, and we'll come through that rotation again. So take a big inhale, right fingertips reach up. Broaden through the arms. Exhale, melting down. Inhale. Starting to point the fingertips back towards the back wall. That's it, get a little bit deeper. And then cartwheel on the way down. Two more just like this, really opening, broadening, really looking back as well with your gaze. And final time. Okay, releasing. And slowly coming up into that high kneeling position. Again, you might need to slide that front foot forward. So tipping the pelvis under, draw the belly button in, tailbone tucks in between the legs. Remember that bucket, we're tipping it backwards. Feel that stretch through that left hip flexor. Take a big breath. Exhale, see if you can slide the hips a little bit more forward, but continue to tip the pelvis backwards. So making sure we're not arching through the lower back just so we get more range. So I don't mind if you're sitting up nice and tall. You can rest the hands on the front. And again, you have the option to come into that nice deep stretch if you feel like you need that today. So just coming forward so we're off the kneecap. Then you can grip, you can hold here, you can come right up into high kneeling wherever you are. Think about that nice open chest, belly button drawing in. Just notice, how is this hip flexor compared to the other one? I know for me, this one's a lot tighter. So I normally really try and focus my attention on this side. Feeling that stretch. You'll also feel a stretch in the quad, so in the thigh. So everything is connected in the body. So even releasing the quad here can help to release the hip flexors and release the pressure off the back as well. Take 2 more breaths wherever you are. And when you are ready, again, no rush, releasing the stretch. This time, curling over the toes, let's come into a downward dog, pedaling the feet. And then slowly tiptoeing the toes to the front of your mat. Bending the knees until the hips come to the heels and sitting down onto your bottom. Okay, so starting to shuffle the bottom backwards, so extending the legs a little bit here. Gripping onto the knees, starting to draw the belly button in and rounding through the back. So really let the shoulder blades slide away from each other. You can pull on the knees as much as you need to, chin to chest. Taking an inhale, belly button pulls towards the thighs, sit up nice and tall, arms pull on the knees, see if you can squeeze the shoulder blades towards each other. And then exhale, chin to chest, rounding as much as you can. Let's do 2 more like this. And on the last one, sit up nice and tall, bring the hands behind the thighs, and then come into that rounded position. So pulling as much as you can, again, the shoulder blades sliding away from the spine. Try and lengthen through the neck so shoulders draw away from the ears, rounding the spine as much as you can. Slowly beginning to slide the hands down the thighs, and we're stamping the spine down onto your mat, 1 vertebra at a time. Coming all the way down to lying, you can shake the hips, the knees, whatever feels good. And then bringing the left foot onto the right knee. So coming into a figure 4 stretch. Reaching your left hand through the triangle you're creating with your legs and either gripping behind your hamstring or onto your shin. Relaxing the head down to the ground. Rolling the shoulders down and back. Taking a big inhale, lengthen through the spine, and on the exhale, starting to guide the legs towards the body. So feeling that stretch in the left bottom. So we're releasing through the glutes now. Again, a really common area of tightness, and this tightness can cause extra pressure into the lower back. It's also common for the tight glutes to potentially compress any nerves that run through the hips as well. So piriformis syndrome or sciatica as well. This is a beautiful stretch to help release discomfort from those conditions as well. Okay, so coming into a little flow now. So taking a nice big inhale, dropping the hips, but keep hold of your leg and pulling the belly button up to the sky. So pause here for a moment. The shoulders are pulling away from the ears. You're trying to arch your back. So almost create space underneath the lower back. Again, take a big inhale, and on the exhale, doing the opposite now. So rounding through the spine, picking up the tailbone off the ground and bringing your legs as close as you can into the body. Take an inhale, tailbone drops, lower back lifts, belly button pulls up to the sky, shoulders away from the ears, and exhale, using the strength in your arms to pull the legs in, lower back presses down to the ground, tailbone lifts, rounding through the spine. So move through this cycle, again, holding any positions that feel good for you. So just introducing that mobility into the spine, into the hips. So this whole class is about creating more mobility in the body, creating more flexibility through the muscles, and allowing more natural movement of the hips and the spine, which is super important when we're dealing with back pain. You'll find that if you are tight and restricted, that's when the pain can sometimes be the worst. So we really want to introduce that mobility and flexibility to release tension and to allow your body to function with better biomechanics, so better movements. Okay, moving through one more cycle and just deepening this release if you want to go a little bit deeper. Otherwise, please feel free to stay as you are. Releasing the left hand, keep your right hand either on your knee or on your hamstring. We will push the left knee away as we pull the right knee in. So really coming into a really deep stretch through the left glute. You might find that your left elbow has met the ground. Little bit of extra tension to push. So pushing the left, pulling the right. Again, try and make sure we're not building tension in the neck. So draw the shoulders down. Take one more big breath like this. And then slowly releasing. The right leg will slide straight. Gripping onto your left knee with your right hand, so opposite, you should be crossing across the body. Left hand reaches out into a T position. We'll come into a spinal twist. So looking at your left fingertips as you drop the knee over to the right. So really twisting the body all the way from the base of the spine to the crown of the head. Keep looking at your left fingertips. Maybe you can melt your left shoulder down to the ground. Taking those big breaths, so the deeper you breathe, the more you allow your body to release. If you would like to go a little bit deeper, release the left leg. Maybe you can grip onto the toes and step that left leg nice and long. So maybe if you've got a slight bend in the knee, maybe you can straighten the leg all the way. And again, come into that twist. So looking at your left fingertips, keep melting the left shoulder down to the ground. So that nice deep stretch. Maybe you want to bend and straighten that left leg as well. So instead of holding a static stretch, just focusing on the mobility. It's almost like a little bit of a massage through the glutes. So introduce any movements you feel your body needs here. Keep melting that left shoulder down. Take one more big breath here. And then when you are ready, slowly beginning to bend the knee if it's not bent already, and releasing to the center. Placing both feet down on the ground, knees shining up to the sky, and placing your hands on your hips. We will come into your hip hike exercise now. So what I want you to think about is your right hip, closing the right side of your body and coming a little bit closer to your right rib cage. So you'll feel your hips tilt, and then over to the other side. So it's almost like you're twisting the back of your pelvis into the ground. So close the right side, close the left side, close the right side, close the left side. So the back of the pelvis is flat on the ground and you're just hiking the hip on each side. So you can move as quickly or as slowly as you like here. Maybe you want to take a breath on each side. Maybe you just want to move quickly and feel that movement through the hips. This is a really nice way to release the SI joint, so the sacroiliac joint, and that is the joint that connects our pelvis to our sacrum, so the base of the spine. Now, sometimes when we get tightness or this joint is locked up, again, it can cause pain. So this is a really nice exercise to release that joint and create a little bit more mobility through the pelvis. So our pelvis actually needs mobility. As soon as it starts to stiffen up, starts to create more tension, our biomechanics are a lot different, and then that's what can cause a lot of our pain. So keep hiking those hips. Let's go for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good, okay. So coming into figure 4 on the other side, right leg crosses across. Reach through the triangle, again gripping onto your hamstring or your knee. Relax your head down, shoulders pull away from the ears. Take a big breath and slowly start to pull the legs in towards the body. So just starting with that static stretch first. So stretching into the right bottom. Again, how does this side feel compared to the other side? Do you feel a little bit more tightness? Maybe it feels easier. So taking those big breaths, and let's start to introduce that sequence. So taking an inhale as the tailbone drops down, trying to create space underneath the lumbar spine. The shoulders slide down into the back pockets. Exhale, round the spine, so the opposite now. Pick up the tailbone, try and bring the legs as close as you can to the body. Inhale, arching the spine. And then exhale, rounding. So following your own breath here, take your time. Again, if any positions feel really nice, feel free to hold them there. So again, we're using that movement to massage the body, to create more mobility, more range. Okay, moving through one more breath cycle, and then you can either stay there, or if you would like to go a little bit deeper, right hand presses into the right knee away, and then the left arm pulls in. Make sure we're not building tension in the neck, so pull the shoulders away from the ears. Feel that push-pull. Again, this left elbow might meet the ground. That's good. You might get a little bit more tension and push through that side. Try to keep your head relaxed down to the ground, so allowing your body to surrender to gravity. Take one more breath. And then slowly releasing. That left leg lengthens, crossing across the body to grip onto the knee. Right arm reaches out into that figure or that T shape. So enjoying the twist, melting the right shoulder down to the ground. So how much mobility do you have twisting this way? Is your knee closer to the ground or further from the ground? Again, you have the option to extend this top leg. Maybe you want to keep a slight bend. Maybe you want to have it fully straightened. Or maybe you want to come into the bend and stretch. So keeping the mobility in the body, massaging that right glute. So whatever feels good for you, keep melting the right shoulder down to the ground. Moving through two more big breaths. Keep looking at your right fingertips. And then when you are ready, returning back to center, nice and slowly. Again, feet meet the ground. Come into those hip hikes. So again, twisting the back of the pelvis into your mat. Okay, just before we finish today's class, we will come into one final spinal mobility exercise. Now, this is excellent for the mid-back. So because we've been focusing so much attention on the bottom, we're going to move our way up to the mid-back. So roll onto your right-hand side. So keeping your knees in kind of right angles. So we will go hips move directly forward to the knees, and knees move directly down towards the ankles. So we've got that right angle. Linking your fingers behind your head, resting your head down on the ground and close down your elbows. So just have a look down at your knees. Try and stack the knees one on top of another. And I want you to pretend there is a flagpole that runs directly down through the knees, so your knees are not going to move. Take a big inhale as you open up the elbows as far as you can. Just make sure that top knee isn't sliding back. So we want to keep the knees together, or even pushing that top knee forward, so that in the opposite direction. On your next exhale, slowly closing down. So again, just moving with your own breath here. Don't feel like you need to move at the same time as I am. Whatever feels good. If you want to hold a position for a little bit longer, you can. So spinal rotation is super important. Our spine is so mobile. Not only does it need to flex forward and back, but also side to side, and rotating as well. Rotation is actually very healthy for the spine. So because we are keeping our pelvis still, we're rotating the rib cage around the pelvis. So you want to keep the legs like they are in concrete and feel that left rib cage pull back. Okay, moving through one more breath cycle. When you return, extending the arms nice and long in front of you, we will do 4 rotations with straight arms. Again, if you feel like you want to pause with your arms open, you can. So really enjoying the twist through the body. Again, that top knee pushing forward. Enjoying the length of your breath as well. Maybe you can breathe a little bit longer. Drink in a little bit more air. And when you are ready, slowly beginning to rotate onto your other side. So coming to your back and then rolling onto the left. I will turn around so I can see you. So again, the same movement here. So creating those right ankles with the legs, fingertips link. Behind the head, close the elbows down again. Look at your knees. Remember that flagpole. Opening out, take a big inhale, rotate the spine. Exhale, closing down. So finding your own rhythm here. And again, just noticing the sensations in your body. So when you twist this way, do you feel more restricted? Do you feel any pain, any tightness? Or do you feel like you can move a little bit further? You can rotate a little bit more? So really getting to know your body. Drinking in those big breaths of air. Moving through 2 more breath cycles like this. Again, there's no rush. When you are ready, you've closed down your elbows, releasing the hands long, and again, coming through 4 rotations with your arms extended, seeing if you can reach back a little bit further. Keep that top knee where it is. Don't allow it to slide back. So again, picturing your rib cage rotating around your hips. So your hips are in concrete. They don't move. You can just feel the rotation through your rib cage. Okay, when you are ready, slowly beginning to roll onto your back. Take your time. Come into a few little hip hikes to finish. Bringing the knees into your chest. And let's rock and roll down and up the mat. So really rounding the spine as much as you can. Maybe you can really curl forward, forehead to knees as you come forward. And then when you are ready, coming all the way up to sitting. Just rocking left to right on your sitting bones, rolling the shoulders backwards and forwards. Just taking a few breaths here together, taking a big inhale, feeling the lift through the crown of your head. Exhale, anchoring down through the sitting bones. As you inhale, feeling your rib cage flare outwards, really drinking in that air. Exhale, let everything go. Taking a big inhale, arms up and over the head, really reaching through the fingertips. Exhale, melting them down. 2 more, just like this. Inhale. Exhale. Final time. This time linking the fingers at the top, turning so the palms are facing to the ceiling. Stretch as long as you can. Leaning over to one side, looking up. Coming back to center, looking over to the other side. And coming up, taking one more big breath up. Reach, reach, reach as tall as you can. And then slowly melting the arms down, bringing the hands to prayer, connecting your thumbs to your chest, connecting with heartbeat and breath. Taking a moment to enjoy the stillness in your body. Really appreciating the time that you gave your body today. And understanding that the pain and discomfort is just a way your body can communicate with you. Maybe it's asking for more gentle movement, for stretches, for mobility. So just realizing throughout your day, throughout your week, the signals that your body gives you. Maybe just even giving it 10 minutes to go through a few stretches, giving back. taking a moment to really appreciate your body and everything it does for you. One final breath. Exhale, letting everything go. Thank you so much for joining me. Namaste.